Hi, it's Alex. Welcome back to my channel. I promised I'd go through my pattern stash, and so we're going to start off with What the Frock. I have got so many sewing patterns. I've been sewing for 20 years, so my collection is pretty big. So there's no way we could go through all of it in one go, and there's probably not much chance we could just go through all the dress patterns in one go either. So we'll put the winter ones to one side for the moment. I'm going to split it into independent pattern companies and the big four and see how I go. I have to be honest, even doing it that way, it may be a little bit too much in one go, but we'll see how we do. I keep all my patterns, whether they're PDFs or printed patterns, on Trello. So the ones I've got in the storage boxes here, if these ones here are PDFs that I've actually printed out, 9 times out of 10, because I've actually made the garment, it's very rare that I print something out and don't actually make it. So probably only half this box is independent printed patterns. 9 times out of 10 I tend to have the PDFs. But I did want to just show you my absolute favourite printed, packaging comes from Papercut Patterns, who do of course have a paper cut on theirs, but not only that, theirs is the more practical one, because rather than being an envelope that you have to try and stuff everything into, theirs opens up like this. So it's much easier, and it's printed on proper paper rather than tissue paper. I know some people prefer tissue paper. I think I don't really. This is pretty indestructible, and if somebody's going to destroy something, it's going to be me. But yeah, I really like this packaging, just both from a practical level and also from a design level. I do think it's great. The other thing I thought I would just quickly show you is that one of the things that I think is very nice from Dhurata Davies is that when you do some pattern testing for her, which I've done a couple of times recently, obviously at that point when she sends the pattern through, it's a PDF, but once she releases the pattern, she always sends a printed copy of it, which I think is a really nice thing that she does. So I've got these, and in fact this one, it's got a little handwritten note on it as well from Dhurata. So yeah, I appreciate that, because time and effort goes into pattern testing, doesn't it? So it's nice to have a printed copy. But I'm going to go over to Trello and show you the patterns that I've got. Some I will have made and some I haven't made. Some kind of similar, so I've tried to put them in groups together. One thing I would just say, just take a note, how many of these patterns are being modelled by people who are over 50, are curvy, are not white. Not many. Now, I appreciate with the independent pattern companies, quite often it's a one-woman band, and the person modelling the designs is usually the pattern designer, or can be the pattern designer, but it's not always, and you'll notice there are lots of groups that are not represented. Anyway, enough of all that. I'll head over to Trello because we've got a lot to get through. Okay, so this is my Trello board with all my sewing patterns on here. Some are duplicated because if, say for example, it's a dress that also comes as a top, then it will appear under tops as well as dresses. As you can see, it says that I have 337 patterns in here, so yeah, even though there are duplicates, obviously that's quite a lot. So I'm not going to go into how Trello works, just zoomed in a little bit so that we can focus on this list here, which is dresses. So as I said, I've tried to put them in some semblance of order. Obviously we've talked about the Deer and Doe Passiflora dress very recently, but I've put it at the top here because my first grouping is shirt dresses, and obviously this is double-breasted, and as we know it can also be a coat, hence it being here under outerwear, but it's kind of roughly speaking a shirt dress, so that's there. I've then got 7 dresses that are in very different ways shirt dresses. So First one is the Sew Over It vintage shirt dress. I always take a copy of the fabric requirements, measurements and line drawing, just because I keep Trello on my phone, so if I go and buy fabric in person, I've got a rough idea of what fabric I need to buy. So yeah, vintage shirt dress. It's got a slightly A-line skirt, it's got darts at the waist there and comes with sleeves and sleeveless, and it's that sort of camp collar style rather than collar with collar stand. And I think I might have made this, so I'll put a picture up of the version I've made. The reason I'm saying might have made it is because I'm not 100% sure, it was quite a long time ago. This one you may have seen, I did a version of this in the faux suede for Minerva Crafts, so again I'll put a picture up, but it's quite different. It's all one piece, there's no waist seam here. You've got these kind of safari style pockets and bust darts here rather than waist darts, and again it comes as a sleeved version, but anything can be turned into short sleeves. Back to Sew Over It again. You've got the penny dress. Now, I made 2 of these last year, and I think I've got photographs of them. And I just have found that, let's look at the line drawings. I've just found that I haven't really worn them very much. It's a nice, simple design. It's got a fuller skirt than the vintage shirt dress from Sew Over It, and it's got an elasticated waist. And it's lovely and light and airy to wear in the summer, but I found myself feeling a bit frumpy in the ones I made. So I have to say, those dresses have gone to charity. Next is the Stylark Armidale dress. I've made a couple of those recently, so we don't need to go into that. But again, see, look, it's shirt dress, but slightly different collar. It's not an elasticated waist, and you've got these gathers here, which are doing the same thing as darts on the waist there, rather than bust darts. So it gives you a slightly different look. So moving on, we've got the Deer and Doe Myostis, no idea how that's pronounced, dress. Again, it is a shirt dress, shirt style at the top and going out to very gathered and tiered skirt options. No collar, you know, it's a sort of mandarin style collar, 2 different sleeve styles. It's not massively me, but my youngest daughter has a few dresses like this, so I bought it because I thought I might make one for her. I do like how it looks. I do like we've got a curvy model. I do think it's really nice. Maybe I will make one day. But yeah, definitely in the shirt dress category. Then we've got the Merchant and Mills factory dress, completely different. I have made this, but there's not a lot of shaping on it. I think that looks like there's a bust dart, and that's about it. Great for sort of mooching around in, but if you're looking for something to give you a bit of shape, that's not your dress. And then the last of the sort of shirt dress category is this one from Stylark, which is quite different if you think going back to the Sew Over It ones and the Armidale dress from Stylark. Do you call it a shirt dress, or is it more like a pullover, slip over dress? Not sure. It would be pretty easy to sew. I like the pleat detail at the back. This collar shouldn't be too difficult to make at all. I'm probably going to make this at some point. I haven't made it. I am not a big fan of the, what do you call that? You know, the kind of shirt tail section here. I just always feel a bit like I'm wearing an oversized shirt. I know that's the look, not my cup of char. But I do very much like this pattern, and I will make it at some point. However, it is similar to this one. This is the Stitchbird dress from the Sewing Revival, and it's similar in that kind of throw-on style dress with a pleat at the back, which is great for the summer, nice and easy. But I think I prefer this one, and I'm definitely going to make this. And when I said in my last video that I was saving something to make with that lovely linen from With This Cloth, this is the dress. So it's got the pleat detail at the back, and then it has a small pleat at the front, just here, and bust darts, and options to have a round or a V-neck. It's just got a grown-on sleeve, so it should be pretty easy to make. But yeah, really love that dress, and it's almost definitely the next thing I'm going to make. So in a similar vein is the Merchant & Mills box dress, which I haven't made. Again, it's another nice and easy summer dress. I think all of these would look great in linen, but I love the pleat detail here, and I don't know how much you can see it on the white here, but you've also got stitching that does a zigzag here to highlight those pleats. Really like how that looks. Just a keyhole at the back, and obviously it comes as a top. Most dresses can be adapted to a top. Similar vein again, a kind of pullover dress, great in linen, is Dhurata Davies Maxine dress, which has these brilliant pockets here. So it can be made all in one colour or colour blocked, and as you can see, that's one I made last year. So moving on to the next category, these are probably dressy dresses. By Hand London Anna dress is very, very popular among sewists. I love the shape of it. It's nice and fitted around the waist, but going out with the cap sleeves and that high split, which obviously you don't have to have as high as that. It's a nice pattern. I bought it in a D-stash for very little, but I just don't really have occasion to wear these kind of dresses very often. That's the Sew Over It. Betty, bless them, Sew Over It issued that free temporarily. Was it International Women's Day? Some sort of reason or another. I can't say I've ever had a massive urge to make it, but it's a really nice, good staple dress. And, you know, the thing about dresses is you can always do a bit of swapping. You know, you can take the bodice from one and add it to a skirt of another. It's a nice dress, but again, I just don't have posh dress occasions. Same with this one from Colette Patterns. This one, I think it's called the Crepe. Yes, the Crepe. I have just come to the end of my Seamwork. I had an annual Seamwork membership, and I probably wouldn't have necessarily chosen this pattern if I wasn't entitled to X number of patterns over the course of my membership. It's very nice. It's got the wrap at the back and that really nice tie at the waist. Just a bit fancy for me, really. Now we're moving on to strappier summer dresses. So we've got Sew Over It Rosy dress, which not really my cup of char, but I have made it. It's the first time I ever made anything with boning. The top does have boning in these seams here. Let's go to the line drawing. Obviously you've got the dress version, and the difference between the two bodices is one has this turnover vintage collar. Do we call it a collar? It is a really nice dress. It was just a bit too formal for me, and I ended up giving it to my daughter, and she hasn't worn it either. But it is a very nice dress, and it was nice and easy to do the boning. It was really good on the instructions. This is the Ariana woven dress, and it's very similar to a McCall's dress that I made last year. The only difference being that the back has shearing, and I desperately want to make this. I can see this being made in the next few weeks. I really like this style. I love the button through. Yeah, and how nice. I hadn't even thought about that. You could do a top version. So really like that. The only proviso, as always with Style Arc, is you do need to be pretty confident sewer because their instructions are pretty minimal. Tessuti Claudia is another great sort of strappy dress pattern. I really love the style line at the top, the way the bodice is cut here. Not great if you're somebody with boobs. I can just about hide a bra under there because even though I don't have a massive bust, I still don't really want to go bra free, but it's a really great dress and I definitely want to make some more. Then this one is the Lola dress. Now this is, lots of people will have this. It's one that came free with a sewing magazine, and it's similar to the Lola dress but has a more A-line skirt, and I think it's got these darts that seem to go down rather than up, which is unusual. There's also a cold shoulder version. I'm personally not a massive fan of the cold shoulder, and I think that neckline is too wide to stay up without those straps or some serious support. But this option is a really nice, viable alternative to the Tessuti one. Would I have paid for it? Probably not, but yeah, it's a good option. Strappy again, this is a bit of a, lots of sewists will know this, the Fiona sundress from Tessuti Patterns. I did make it, it didn't fit me. I had a nightmare trying to get it to fit, and I threw it in a corner in a sulk and have never looked at it again. Maybe one day I'll revisit it, because if you go look on Instagram under the hashtag, lots of people have made really nice versions. And where's the line drawing? There is the really nice backless, or the V-back version, which I've seen people make, which really looks really nice. But if you don't want that, and again we have a bra issue, then there's the sort of standard back. The straps are wide enough to hide the bra behind, and these pockets are fab. Next, dying to make this. This is the Misty top and sundress from, I think they're called So Altered Style. Really love that. That's a great, easy to wear summer dress, and it also comes as a number of tops. Obviously it's quite short, but you can always add length on. I really love the way this crisscross strap at the back is, but also look, you've got a nice cami with darts, unlike the Ogden. So yeah, I loved the two top options on that, and kind of nice easy summer dress there. That's for a woven. So yeah, definitely on my to-do list. Then the next section is wrap dresses, and again I seem to have a lot of wrap dresses. First up is this one from the Sewing Revival. Can't tell it's a wrap dress. It's only when I spotted the line drawing that I realised it was. But I do think this is a really nice pattern, and what I do know about Sewing Revival is that their instructions are very hand-holdy. Again, you don't have to worry about setting in a sleeve. It's just dead easy, isn't it? Nice, troll round in the summer. You could make it look really special by using a spectacular fabric, or you could use a really nice linen. Definitely want to make that nice, good basic dress. Then I've got this one, which is part of my Seamwork membership, and very, very similar, but you've got the collar, and it's in two parts. So there is more fitting to it. It has got a seam around the waist and darts at the waist here, so it's definitely going to give you more shape. So similar, but not the same. And then one of the freebies, again, free with a sewing magazine. Probably wouldn't have bought it because it's pretty similar to both of those two, is this one here, the wrap dress. Now we're on sort of general summer dresses that don't necessarily have a link. This one I love. It's the Bondi dress from Tessuti Patterns. I think this is a fabulous dress. I have made it, but I don't know if there's a photo of it, and I managed to get a big old greasy mark on it, so I need to make another one. But I love the way the shoulders, the cut here on the shoulder, you know, you've got, again, a bit of a struggle with a bra strap maybe, but I just love that. It's nice and simple, but it just has a little bit of something extra about it. Pockets, as always. I did also do a little bit of a frayed hem on mine, and I was really happy with it. So again, definitely one to wear again, make again, not wear again. And again, look, it's a little keyhole at the back, so chuck it on, nice and easy. This one, I don't really know what I had in mind when I bought it, but I did. I can't really see me wearing this. I don't know. Maybe I bought it for the slip underneath, because I actually like the slip underneath more than I like the outer part of the dress. But, you know, this dress here from PM Patterns, the sun dress, it also comes as a top. I absolutely love. As you can see, I made a version of it. I've also made a dress version of it. Unfortunately, it's a bit big now, so the top has been relegated to pyjamas. But yeah, really, really like this pattern. It's got a few different options. So the dress has an elasticated waist. As per with me, I did the long version. I do like a midi skirt, but you've also got the sleeved version and the short sleeve version. And if you know Lucy, she might be called Love Lucy. I'll put a title on Instagram. She's made a really beautiful version of this, or maybe even a couple. This, oh look, that's me. Sydney designer dress from Style Arc. I made last year. I was really interested in the shape of this kind of tulip shape. I was very keen to make it. I made it last year out of linen that was gifted to me from Minerva as part of their blogger network thing. And it's absolutely gorgeous. Love the colour, love the fabric, never wear it. Don't know, I think it's too big and too heavy for the summer and would probably be better with longer sleeves and a different fabric for the winter. There's just too much of it. Then we've got the Farrah blouse and dress from Chalk and Notch. Bought this a couple of years ago when this kind of ruffly thing down the seams was on trend, and I did make the dress version not with this ruffle but with this ruffle, and it really didn't suit me. And the other issue I had was that the arms here were quite wide and you kept getting a flash of bra, which I wasn't wild about. So it's just a bit overly frilly for me. So not sure I'd want to revisit it. So then we have the Papercut Patterns Meridian dress, which I showed you the packaging for. I absolutely love this dress. But it is true to say that I don't wear the one I'm wearing now very often. I think I would probably wear it more often if I did something like this and made it in a linen. It would just feel a little bit less formal, but I absolutely love these big ties and this twist at the front here. So continuing with sort of twists and folds and ties, this is a version I made last year of the Maynard dress from Elbe Textiles. I love this dress, absolutely love it. But you could probably see from this picture here, it was a bit big when I made it. And I've lost a little bit of weight since, so it is now really too big. So I actually cut it out the other day and I'm ready to sew it. It's a zero waste sewing pattern, so it's really interesting. You just print out and don't cut out the pattern pieces, and you lay it out on one single piece of fabric, and you end up with no extra bits. You definitely need to pay attention because obviously it's a very unconventional construction. I think you'd need to be in the right frame of mind to make it, but definitely on my favourite dresses list. This, just while we were on kind of twists and ties and gathers, is the Egret tank and dress. I was pattern testing I did the top. Don't think I've made a dress version of it, and that would be a good thing for some of those georgette or chiffony type fabrics that I have. As you can see, it's a dead easy one, this. It's elastic around the neck there and elastic at the waist. So really nice and easy. And as I said before, Janine's instructions are always brilliant for beginners. Then we've got Dhurata's Jasmine, which I've made recently, so I'll put a card linking to my review of that. But that again is a great summer dress. It comes with a top version and a sleeve, a grown-on sleeve with a cuff, so it's definitely sort of a bit of an all-weather dress. That. Back over to Tessuti over in Australia. This is the lowest dress. I love this dress. I have made it myself in this Atelier Brunette double gauze. It is a bit booby, but I do really like it. And that is looking very structured because of that double gauze, but in something like a viscose or even a silk or something really drapey, it's lovely and wafty and definitely a good summer staple. So moving on to the Deer and Doe Magnolia. I haven't made this, and I thought it had similarities to the Tessuti Lois dress, but they're not quite the same, because this has the tie, this has princess seams going throughout, it has a much wider skirt. Obviously it doesn't have the grown-on sleeve like the Lois, and it also has this sort of fluttery butterfly sleeve option. So at first glance they're similar, but they're actually quite different. This one I think is very fabric hungry. Yeah, look at that. You need a lot of fabric to make that. But I do like that dress. So one day. This one is the Papercut Patterns Kobe dress, and I really liked this when it came out. It might be better if you look at the line drawing. So it's actually, at the front it's just a plain round neck dress, and at the back it has a fold over, but then also sort of integrated round neck, very quite low round neck. Comes as a top. Now I made the top version, and I'll go get it and show it to you at the end and show you why I'm not so keen on it. One thing I will say is just notice that this image appears to have some kind of belt, and this line drawing doesn't. Then this is the Style Arc Carnegie dress, and I had a dress very similar to this donkey's years ago when I first met my husband. I bought it from Jigsaw, and it was in linen, and it had a V-neck and princess seams. This has a really interesting double seam there, and I loved that dress because it was great. It was nice and fitted at the top here, and then it sort of disappeared over the tummy. So I've been looking for a sewing pattern for ages that would do a similar sort of thing. So I was absolutely chuffed when I found this one on Style Arc, and I haven't made it yet. So that's definitely on my to-do list. We're coming towards the end. These two are very similar, also from Style Arc. This one is a jersey knit dress, bit of a cap sleeve, V-neck, long. I suspect there's a little split there. You know, nice and easy. And then this one is pretty similar, isn't it? I guess it has a slightly different V-neck, and it has a cuff and a pocket, but really they're muchness. This one is also a knit dress. It's similar to a kilo wrap dress, but not. Don't know, I think I prefer the kilo wrap dress, which I haven't bought. And that's us done for my summer independent pattern company dresses. So I hope that wasn't too much of a kind of race through, but obviously there are quite a lot, especially considering we've not even got onto the vintage ones and the big four or the winter ones. But I've really enjoyed doing it, actually. It made me realise all sorts of things, like, yeah, how many different shirt dress patterns there are, and they are all quite different, but also obviously do like a shirt dress. And I'm always on the lookout for dresses with interesting gathers and twists. I know every now and then there's a challenge on Instagram which I think is called Sew Twists and Ties. I do check that tag every now and then to see if there's anything that's come out that I've not spotted. But that Maynard dress from Elbe Textiles is definitely one I really love. This is my version of the Papercut Meridian dress, and this was a fabric that was gifted to me by Minerva when I was doing a blog post for them. And it's not, don't get me wrong, it's nice. I really like it. I really like the fabric. I'm quite pleased by how much I managed to hide the zip. And I do really like these ties. You know, you have this kind of strange trunk effect, and then you just twist it over and tie it, and I do really like that. But I think as I said, I just feel that for me I need to be in a sort of slightly less dressy kind of fabric really. I think something like a linen would probably get more wear. And I was going to show you, by coincidence, this is also Papercut Patterns. This is the top version of the Kobe, who knows how it's pronounced, I'm going to call it Kobe, dress and top. And I had been saving this fabric because I really, really love it. And I was really excited to make this top. Oh my goodness, trying to turn it the right way around, a feet and a half. But in fact, I think what I'll do is I'll put it on. Hold on. Okay, so fairly plain and simple at the front, and as I say, it's higher at the front here. Now this is just about okay, but all I have to do is that, and I'm flashing tummy, and I don't really want to do that. It's longer at the back. I mean, I like this back detail. Let me move my hair. I like this back detail, how it folds over but still has the, you know, it's not a separate section or anything. But look, hello, bra strap again. And I just don't want to wear a top without a bra. So you'd have to move that up higher. That was one issue I had with it. As well as this, I felt being too high at the front. But overall, I just feel that it's just a bit shapeless and a bit meh, you know, a bit, well, so what, why bother? And every time I've gone to wear it, I end up putting it back on the hanger and not bothering. So, although I say that, I have noticed I've got a food stain on the front, so obviously wore it at some point. But I do think as a dress, if you raised that at the back so you could have your bra strap, and you didn't have to worry about the front being so high, it could make a really nice dress. But notice what they did on the pattern. They had a belt, and I think that's because it is so big. It needs something to kind of bring it in a bit. So I think it has potential, but I also think that's probably why you don't see so many people making that pattern, because yeah, it just needs a little bit of a tweak. Anyway, I will be back soon with the ugly ducklings. And the reason I'm calling them ugly ducklings is that these things, well, that's no good, that's a witch's costume, but these things never look great, do they? But actually, sometimes there's a lot to be said for a big four pattern. I don't tend to use them so much these days, but if only the styling was nicer, you know, quite often the patterns are actually pretty good. So I'll be back soon with What the Frock, the Big Four. In the meantime, thank you very much. Honestly, you know, I do really appreciate everyone that subscribed and everyone that comments and all the new subscribers. I love everyone joining in. So thank you very much. And I'm going to be back soon with a bit more of a chatty thing, because I've been making all sorts of bits and pieces, so I will be back soon. I think I might go for a different location. I might turf Dave out of the shed. I'm a bit fed up of being in here. All right, see you soon. Bye.